Open your book to page 11. Today's lesson is to learn about absolute value and learn how to add integers and other signed numbers. So let's go over example 1. Okay, example 1, the example 1a, your absolute value of 9. Now, the definition of absolute value is the distance between the number and the 0. So again, absolute value means the distance. So what's the distance between 9 and the 0? The answer is 9, right? Okay, so it's very simple. So the absolute value is always positive, okay, because it's a distance. So example 1b, absolute value of 0. The answer is 0 because what's the distance between 0 and the 0? 0, right? Okay, now let's go to C. Absolute value of -4. The answer is equal to 4. Okay, again, what is the distance between -4 and 0? It's 4, right? Remember, distance is always positive. So absolute value, the answer is always positive. Okay. Now let's go over how to add numbers. And again, you have to understand the definition of number, the definition of additions. So let's go to example 4 on page 13. So page 13, example 4. So it says add 5 and -7. So basically means you have 5 plus -7. So what this means that if you go on a number line, the first number is where you start. So if you start at 5, and negative means, so you're going to add -7 means you start at 5 and you're going to go 7 this way, right? Negative means opposite direction, right? And so if you track that, this is going to end up with -2. So this will equal to -2. Again, so those are some of the basic definitions of additions and subtractions, right? So again, when you add negative number, it means you're going opposite direction. And if you count the number line, you're going to see you're going to end up -2. Okay, so now let's go to example 5. It says add -3 and -4. So basically, you're adding these two together. Okay. So let's start with the number line. So you got -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, right? So again, first number is where you start. And you're going to add -4 means you're going this direction 4, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's where you're going to end up. So your answer would be -7. Okay? So again, those are the just basic definition of addition of numbers. Now, as you can see, that every time when you have to do that, it's kind of cumbersome and it takes a lot of time. Okay, so sometimes you don't need to do all these. Sometimes you should know how to add. Okay, and that's what we're going to do. So let's go to page 15. So let's go over some of the rules. So right on the top, in this book, right, when you see something in the blue box, that means it's very important. So you need to pay attention to everything that is inside the blue box. So first one is an additive identity property. So additive identity. Okay, additive identity property is that when you add something and it stays the same. So for example, a plus 0 equal to a. So this is called an additive identity property. Okay, so additive, right, is addition. Identity means stay the same, right? Think about the word identical, right? So you're going to add and you're going to stay the same. Okay, and that means you have to add 0, right? So a plus 0 equal to a. So what it's saying is that when you're adding 0, the answer stays the same. It doesn't change. Okay? Now, don't get confused between the additive identity property and additive identity. Additive identity equal to 0, okay? Because when you add 0, the number will stay the same. So additive identity is 0. So this is one of the questions on the test. It will ask you what is additive identity, and the answer will be 0. Okay? Because Again, when you add 0, your answer will stay, the number will stay identical, right? It will stay the same. Okay, now let's go to the next blue box. Over here is the rules of how to add numbers. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the examples and it's easier to understand. So let's go to example 8. So you got negative 29 plus negative 35. So what you want to do is, first you look at the two numbers. If they're the same sign, okay, if they're the same kind, you add together. If they're opposite kind, like one is positive, one is negative, part of it is going to cancel out. So you're going to subtract the numbers. Okay? So again, same kind, you add the numbers together. So you're going to be 4, 64, right? Again, same kind of numbers, both are negative, so same type. So you add together, and then the final answer would be the same sign as a bigger, absolute value number. So this is 35 is bigger than 29, right? So you follow that, focus on that. So it's negative, so answer would be negative. Okay, so again, same kind, you add, and then answer would be same sign as the one with a bigger number. Okay. Now let's go to example 9. You got negative 9 plus positive 23. Okay, so these are opposite kind. One is positive, one is negative. So if they're opposite kind, part of it is going to get canceled out. So you have to subtract. So subtract the number, you get 14. Again, follow the sign with a bigger number. So 23 is bigger, it's positive. So answer would be positive. So that's what the rule says in the big blue box. Okay, so again, you check, same kind, you add, different kind, you subtract. And then the answer will follow the same sign. See, it's positive, so it's positive. Negative, so it's negative. Okay, so let's go and do more examples. So let's go to example 10 on page 16. Yeah, negative 24 plus 17. So make sure it's addition. So it's addition. So this is positive, this is negative. This is positive, this is negative. So they are different kind. So different kind, you have to subtract the two numbers. You always use a big number, subtract the small numbers, right? When I say big, I'm not talking about a sign, right? Just look at that. So again, opposite kind, so you have to find the difference. So it'll be 7. And then you follow that. This is higher number, so follow that. Answer would be negative 7. Okay? Okay, so let's go and do a few more examples. Let's go to page 17. Example 11. So you have negative 5 over 2 plus negative 13 over 3. Okay. They are same kind, so you're going to add. Now, when you have fraction, what you want to do is, if it's improper fraction, it's not too bad. You can just go and make it into common denominator. Okay, so this is what you need to do. So common denominator, 2 and 3, the least common multiple is 6, right? So first you get your common denominator ready. Then you have to ask yourself, how are you going to get from here to here? How are you going to get from 2 to 6? You have to multiply by 3, right? So put a little note over here. You need to multiply by 3. So that means that on the top you get negative 15. Okay? On the bottom, how are you going to get from 3 to 6? Well, you have to multiply by 2, right? So put a little note over here. So that means on the top you will get negative 26. So now you're all ready to go. So when you add or subtract, the denominator does not change, right? It stays the same. So all you have to do is focus on the numerator, the top. So both are negative, so same kind, right? Both are negative, so you add them together, so you get 41. And you follow the sign of the higher number is negative, so answer will be negative. Then after that you check, see if you can reduce. Okay, if you cannot reduce, then that's it. Now don't waste your time making mixed numbers. The expression in algebra, just keep it as improper fraction. So don't waste your time try to convert. Okay. Okay, let's go to example 12. You have negative 2 1/4 plus 8 1/8. Now, when you have mixed numbers, it's easier if you do a vertical method. Okay? So first, you can see these are different kind. Right? This is positive, this is negative. So they are different kind, different type. So you need to go and subtract the numbers. So you got 8 1/8, and you got 2 1/4, and you're going to subtract. Okay? Now, what you need to do is, you need to go and make it. So first, you don't have enough. Another thing is you don't have common denominator. So first, let's go and make into common denominator first. So this would be 8 1/8, and this would be 2 2/8, right? You have to make into common denominator. But now you don't have enough to subtract, so you need to borrow. So this becomes, so borrow 1 from here, so it becomes 7, and you can separate the whole number from the fraction part. So you borrow 1 from here, so this becomes 8/8. Okay. So again, this 8 is right over here, and the 7, right? The 7 came from here. So you borrow 1 from the 8, so it becomes 7, and the 1 that you borrow becomes 8/8. Okay, you guys following so far? And the 2 would be over here, and 2/8. So that's what a mixed number means. Okay. So now you're ready to subtract. So when you subtract, it's easier to use this subtract that, right? So when you subtract, this will give you 5, and this will give you 6/8, and this will give you 1/8, right? This is the original part. Okay. So again, you borrow 1 from here. That's how come it becomes 7. So you borrow 1 from the 8, so it becomes 7, and the 1 that you borrow is the 8/8, and you're going to use that to subtract. Okay. And you have to add on what you have originally, right? So your answer would be 5 and 7/8. Okay. And then after that, you check, right? So the higher number is positive, so your answer would be positive. So again, you borrow to get that, and so you can use the part that you borrow to subtract. And don't forget this part. So you go sideways like that, it's more clear, so it's not as difficult. Okay? Okay, let's go to example 13. It says at 6 a.m. the temperature in Alamosa, Colorado was negative 15 degrees F. So 6 a.m. it was negative 15 degrees F. So write down all your information. It says by 10 a.m. the temperature raises 9 degrees. So go up 9 degree F. So what is the temperature? So temperature equal to what? Well, when you go up means you add, right? So basically this problem becomes negative 15 plus 9. That's what the problem is. Okay, so now there are different kind. So if there are different kind of numbers, you have to subtract, right? So answer would be 6. And you follow the sign of the higher number over here, so it would be negative. And your label would be degree F. And that's it. So you need to learn how to translate. Okay, let's go to, on bottom of the page 17, there's a couple more definition. The additive inverse. Additive inverse is the opposite number. So for example, let's go to example 14. Example 14a, the additive inverse of 5 is negative 5. So if you have 5, the additive inverse is negative 5. I'm just going to call it AI, okay, additive inverse. Again, it's just the opposite. Okay, so again, inverse means the opposite of adding. Okay, so if it's 5, the additive inverse would be negative 5. Okay, so that's what that is. So B, if you have the 8/3, then additive inverse would be negative 8/3. Again, just additive inverse means the opposite, right? Okay. Let's continue on. Let's go to example 16. It says remove the absolute value symbols from the negative absolute value of negative 12. Okay, so you want to simplify. Again, you go down step by step. So first you have to do is you have to simplify the negative 12. Again, remember absolute value is the distance between the number and the 0. Okay? It's always positive. So this will give you negative, and you don't have to draw an arrow, but I'm just showing you so you can see what I'm doing. So this part would be 12, and so that's it. So your answer would be negative 12. Okay? So do not change this part, only this part over here. Okay, let's go to number 7, example 17. So you want to add absolute value of negative 8 plus negative 3. So first you need to go and simplify this. So absolute value of negative 8 means the distance between negative 8 and 0. So the answer would be 8. Right? Again, absolute value means the distance. Okay, that means it's always positive. And so you do one step at a time. And so you end up with that. So now your next step is you need to go and add. Now these are different kinds, right? This is positive, this is negative. So they are different kinds. So you have to subtract the numbers. So it would be 5. And then you follow the sign of the higher number. The higher number is positive, so the answer will be positive. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so let's go and do some practice. Try to be okay. Okay, done with.